So a lot of us are officially in the back to school groove, and we saw, backpack giveaways and all sorts of back to school drives, including the one here at 11 Alive. But joining me this morning is author and poet Joshua T. Dickerson to talk about a poem that we see goes viral every year online around this time of year. It's called I Ain't Got No Pencil. And it really puts the aspect of the need of our children in the school system into perspective. Joshua, talking about I Ain't Got No Pencil, going beyond the title, what was the inspiration for you to write this poem?
Okay, the inspiration behind me writing this poem is, I work with children in the Atlanta area for over 20 years. And I've seen children come from various backgrounds and circumstances. And I've seen children be picked at or even fussed at for not having adequate school supplies. But it's not really the responsibility of the child. Some people go through some very bad circumstances and they may just not have what they need for school. So I try to open people's eyes to be sensitive to the needs of everyone, because just because a child doesn't have a pencil, that doesn't mean that they're neglectful of their education or that they don't want to learn. They just may not have it.
And it really opens our eyes to what we say and how we respond, and to give more thought before the response when you walk us through the aspect of the child getting ready in the morning for school, all the things that they don't have.
Exactly.
But I love the part that they still make it, even with the little sibling in tow. Talk about the perseverance of these children that are experiencing these situations at such young ages.
That's the main ideal of the poem that sometimes people miss. It's like, there are children, there are people who survive these extenuating circumstances and they're still moving forward. So it could be more than just a child. It could be the teacher, it can be the administrator, it can be you. I meet you today, but I don't know what you went through to get to this point. So it just teaches people to be sensitive towards other people and not just jump to judgment, because there are people who are doing the very best that they can do in the circumstances that they're in.
I think that is so inspiring to hear, especially as, our teachers and our administrators, they're meeting new kids. You may not know their backgrounds. And for the back to school drive, we chose Brookview Elementary in Fulton County. A lot of them are transient students. They're moving around throughout the year. Families trying to find stable living environments because cost of living is so high. 100% of them are on the free or reduced lunch program. So you just never know what you're walking into. Tell us about the heart behind the poem.
The heart behind the poem, it revolves around, don't judge people based off their circumstances. And I've worked with children in what they call disadvantaged circumstances for a long time. And they're smart, they're brilliant, they want to learn, they want to do better. And it's just, you have to love them and love them the same way you love someone else. When a child may come from a affluent society or affluent community and they don't have something, people just say, oh, they just don't have it, but they don't judge their character. When a child from a circumstance that they may not make the most money and they don't have something, it's looked at as, oh, they're neglectful or they don't care. So my heart is for those people who are going through any circumstances, that they receive equal and fair treatment.
I love that aspect. And what would you say about what the poem is not?
The poem is not an attack upon educators. Sometimes people think, they read the last line and say the teacher fussed at me, and they think it's an attack upon educators. But I myself am a former school teacher, so I know the hard work that educators put into their craft, their profession, and they're some of the most underpaid people in the world for the amount of work they do. So it's definitely not an attack upon educators. It's not where I want people to say, oh, school systems are bad, because actually school systems are the backbone of our society. But I just wanted to open the eyes of people towards what struggles a student may go through. And just like you can relate, I read that you're from Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
And I know some people have some stereotypes about Flint, Michigan. Mm-hmm. But when they actually get to know the people from Flint, they say, wow, you're brilliant. But that's what I want people to see. Stop stereotyping people.
And looking beyond just the surface level of the circumstances that you came from, because that doesn't define you throughout your whole life.
That is correct.
Yeah, and despite, and I related to some of the lines in the poem, but here I am on the local news in the morning time, right?
And look at you.
And here you are, the man behind the poem. And so I think it really speaks to the type of heart that we want to have toward our young people as we push them to success. And words have so much power.
They do. Words have tremendous power. Words can be used to create or destroy. And when you see somebody and they don't have it, to say, hey, is there something I can do to help you? And listen to them, and you'll be amazed what you find out. And that's just not students, that's anybody you encounter on a day-to-day basis. It's better to lead with kindness than harshness.
And something as inexpensive as not having a pencil can make all the difference in your day if you're a child.
It really can. It can either make or break their day. That one comment that you make to a student or a person can actually determine the course of the rest of their day. They may want to give up. They may feel defeated. But if you say something encouraging, they may be inspired to do even more or even better what even they dreamed that they could do.
Awesome. Now, do you want to read the poem or?
I'll do the poem, however you want me to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. This is "'Cause I Ain't Got a Pencil," written by Joshua T. Dickerson. I woke myself up because we ain't got an alarm clock. Dug in the dirty clothes pile, 'cause ain't nobody washed my school uniform. Brushed my hair and teeth in the dark because the lights weren't on. I even got my baby sister ready because mama wasn't home. Got us both to school on time to eat a good breakfast. And when I got to class, the teacher fussed at me because I ain't got a pencil.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. We thank you so much for being here and just shedding light on this issue and just showing us how to change the posture of our hearts towards our babies because they are the future. We got to lift them up.
They are.